4, now we're hitting probably the first kind of challenging question here. And this is one that is really great to do with number picking. By the way, I'm not reading the questions out loud for you, but I do want you to use that strategy of reading it 3 times. I'm just not reading them out loud because I assumed you already read it and I don't want to be too repetitive here. But please make sure that you're reading them more carefully than I am during this video. All right, so this question number 4, the interesting thing about this question is they never tell you how much the car costs. They're only talking about terms of percentages, right? First is 40% less, and then it's 20% more. And we don't know less than what or more than what. So number picking is going to fix that problem for us. We're just going to pick our own number for the price of a car, and then we'll have something to take the percentage of. So the number that I recommend always for percentage questions is 100. So let's pick that the original price equals $100. I know that's really cheap for a car, but is the easiest number for percentages. So that's what we're going for. He got a really cheap car. All right. 3 years later, he sold it to the dealer for 40% less. Well, I think you can do this in your head, but if you can't, you're going to take 100 and you're going to multiply that by 0.6. And I'll be even a little more clear on how I got 0.6. If you want to subtract 40% of this number, you're going to start with you're going to use that 1 minus R for doing a discounted price. So start with the number 1 and then subtract the percentage in decimal form. In other words, what we're saying here is that if you are getting rid of 40% of the price, you are keeping 60% of the price. So we're really taking 60% of 100, and I'm going to write that as 0.6. And so that equals $60. Easy to do in your head when you're starting with the number 100. If you could have just done that in your head, 100, 40% less is $60, great. I just wanted to show you in case you weren't sure how you could do it in steps. Now we're going to do 20% more. In this step, it's important that you do not start with 100. We're going to start with this 60 from the last step. All right, and so it's going to be $60, and we're going to multiply that by 1.2. The 1 is for your original 60, and the 0.2 is for your 20% additional, right? And 60 times 1.2, you can absolutely use a calculator. I believe that's going to be 72. And now the question is, what percentage of this is the original? We're back to the beauty of 100%, of having picked 100, right? If you had picked anything other than 100, we'd be getting the calculator out again. But this time we don't have to. I know that $72 is exactly 72% of 100. Our answer is C. Before I move on, I just want to talk about one of the traps in this question. If you take a number and you subtract 20, and then you subtract 40, and then you add 20, you would think that's like you'd have 80% left, right? Because you went down by 40, you went up by 20, so then now you're only down by 80. This is a big old trap. That's because you can never add and subtract percentages if they are percentages of different things. So right, this 40% less is 40% less of 100. The 20% more is 20% more of 60. So don't you be adding 40 and 20 or subtracting 40 and 20 because they're not like terms. They're not of the same thing. So please be careful of that trap. Take this question step by step. Do not try and combine the percentages.